On this episode of Time About the Movies, one of Stephen King's classic movies comes back to life for a new generation with Chloe Grace Moretz starring as Carrie. We have Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger returning for a new film with Escape Plan. Benedict Cumberbatch as WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange in The Fifth Estate. We have I'm in Love with a Church Girl, which is a movie I never even heard of, but seeing the trailer, you're in for a real treat because, yeah, it's pretty something. It's not Escape from Tomorrow something, but it's a different kind of something. We'll touch on that. We'll take a look at the Best Picture winner of the year, 12 Years a Slave. We also have Robert Redford in All Is Lost, and Daniel Radcliffe and Dane DeHaan in Kill Your Darlings. So 7 films to take a look at today, October 18th, 2013. This is Time About the Movies.
This was always such a peaceful town.
I don't want to use the word conspiracy, but that's what it's looking like.
Her mother was a fanatic. I don't know how she lived with her.
To believe something supernatural happened here defies logic and explanation.
There's one thing no one seems to understand. She wasn't some monster. She was just a girl.
Ah, yes, the old "my baby never hurt nobody" motif. Well, you didn't know that because you don't know this person very well, apparently. Welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. We have a lot of movies to get to today, 7 to be exact, for this October 18th, 2013. And we are starting off, of course, with the biggest of the releases, and that is the remake of Carrie. This one stars Chloe Grace Moretz as the character of Carrie, and it's essentially a modern reimagining of the original story about a shy girl outcast by her peers and sheltered by her deeply religious mother, played by Julianne Moore in this one, who uses her telekinetic powers with devastating effects after falling victim to a cruel prank at her senior prom. The cast also includes Julie Greer, Portia Doubleday, Gabriella Wilde, Anson Elgort, and Alex Russell among the cast, and this is directed by Kimberly Pierce, who gave us Boys Don't Cry, and before this did Stop Loss. And this was co-written by Roberto Aguirre-Sacasi, who is one of the main writers on Glee, which is both a pro and a con of this movie in general. This isn't a bad movie per se. It's just, most people agree it's kind of an unnecessary reboot because really, they're only making this because Carrie is a name. Carrie is something that people will MGM thinks will come to see. I mean, this is their third time trying to make Carrie into a franchise. I mean, they tried to do it with excuse me, I lost my train of thought there for a second, but they did it with The Rage Carrie 2, which was a big flop because it came out 23 years after the original Carrie. It wasn't even a Carrie sequel directly. It was another movie, but they decided to put Carrie 2 in there to try to sell it to people. They tried to do an NBC TV show with a TV movie that came out in 2002, and that didn't work out. And even before then, there was a Carrie musical in the 80s that didn't perform very well. So they've tried to make Carrie into a franchise for the longest time. And the original Carrie just works because it's a straightforward story. It didn't need a continuation. And it just is a movie that still holds up after all these years later. Stuff like this does not. And this movie, it's trying. Chloe Grace Moretz is a perfect casting choice for Carrie. And Julianne Moore does a good job as the mother in here. But they don't do anything new or different with it overall, except just make it a modern setting, have YouTube and the internet be a big part of it all. But other than that, there's nothing about this movie that's worth it. It's not even scary. It's not even engaging overall, because you know everything they're going to do, because this movie is so lazy in terms of what it's trying to do. Like, it's literally copying and pasting the other movie, except add in the internet, add in the modern world of 2013 into this, and it just didn't work overall. And the actors are trying in here. They're trying their best to keep it together, but it just didn't work in the end. It's a major, major misfire, and just a movie that just didn't work as well as they wanted it to do. Certainly not one of the worst horror remakes ever, but definitely one of the more unnecessary ones, so. Not much more to say about that one. That is Carrie for you. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger in Escape Plan.
The most dangerous and escape-proof prison ever built is called the Tomb.
people who paid for you to be here want you here forever.
Someone set me up, and I'm gonna find out why. Okay. I'm gonna burn this place to the ground. Schwarzenegger. Back away.
Escape plan. Rated R. Opens Friday.
Speaking of movies that seem very familiar, yeah, Lock Up much? Sylvester Stallone literally did a movie like this about being falsely accused of and going to prison and trying to get out of there, except this time it's a futuristic setting where, you know, you have... the plot of this is that you have Sylvester Stallone is a lawyer turned prison security tester who is incarcerated in the world's most secret and secure prison and recruits a fellow inmate played by Schwarzenegger to stage a breakout. So yeah, it's a movie that we've kind of seen done before overall, but it's actually the first time that you've had Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger as co-leads in a movie, and that's one of the more impressive things about the movie in general here. This isn't a bad movie overall, it's just a film that, again, kind of like a Carrie, it's been done to death before, but the action overall, the overall movie is not that bad overall. The action is a ton of fun. Jim Caviezel plays a kind of fun, over-the-top villain in this. Curtis Jackson's also in here, 50 Cent. Vinnie Jones, Vincent D'Onofrio, Amy Ryan. And it is cool to see Schwarzenegger and Stallone together as a duo in a movie, and it's kind of fun to see them in this one here in general here. It's a movie that knows exactly what it is. It's a film that knows that it's going to be a very silly, over-the-top movie, not meant to be taken seriously by any way, shape, or form. You got the director of 1408, Michael Hofstrom, directing this movie. I mean, it is what it is. It's a movie where you look at it and go like, okay, I know what I'm going into here. And it delivers what it promises for the most part here. Is it a great movie? No, not really. But it's definitely a film that I would say, if you love Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger's movies, this is one that's definitely worth a watch for at least one time only. But other than that, though, there's really not much more to say about it, except that it's a fun movie, definitely good for one-time watch, but other than that, though, that's about it. I've never seen the sequels, the Escape Plan sequels, and quite frankly, I never want to see them, because why would I want to do that? I mean, this one looks fine as it is, and direct-to-video sequels don't usually pan out that well when it comes to action films like this, So with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is Disney trying to copy the success of The Social Network with you know, hey, they did the movie about the founder of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, where we're going to do a movie about the founder of WikiLeaks, Julian Assange. This is the Fifth Estate.
They want to change the world.
He can do whatever the hell he wants.
If you want to do this, we have to do it now.
He may have leaked the whole database.
Oh my God.
12 million people have seen that video. Still want to tell me you think it's just a little website?
There are lives at risk.
This is information the world needs to know.
He's not a journalist. He's a threat to national security.
They're coming after us.
We need to be careful who we trust.
Let's take the fight to them.
Have to go.
The
Fifth Estate. Rated R. In theaters October 18th.
Yeah, you know it's not a good sign when even Julian Assange himself is emailing Benedict Cumberbatch to say, please don't do this. I'm begging you not to do this. And lo and behold, the end result was not what they expected it to be, and quite frankly, it's not hard to see why. The story begins as WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, and his colleague Daniel Domichberg, played by Daniel Bruhl from Rush, team up to become underground watchdogs of the privileged and powerful. On a shoestring, they create a platform that allows whistleblowers to anonymously leak covert data, shining a light on the dark recesses of government secrets and corporate crimes. Soon they are breaking more hard news than the world's most legendary media organizations combined. But when Assange and Berg gain access to the biggest trove of confidential intelligence documents in U.S. history, they battle each other at a defining question of our time. What are the costs of keeping secrets in a free society, and what are the costs of exposing them? I think the better question is, how long until you can copy a much more popular movie until people realize, okay, motherfucker, we're not falling for this again. This is literally The Social Network all over again, and they didn't even try to hide it. They really did not. This movie is so lazy. Like, this movie literally feels like a film that was made because The Social Network was such a big success and everyone had to be like, okay, we gotta have our own movie about a revolutionary person of the time, so let's do it with Julian Assange, which, I mean, to Benedict Cumberbatch's credit, he's the one thing holding it together. He's fine in this. He's given the best thing about the film. But other than that, though, everything else about this is just lame. It's a lousy movie. It's a boring movie. It's not fun. It's not engaging overall. everybody else is really half-assing it. This movie feels like it's begging for an Academy Award, and it's not getting anywhere near the Oscars in general. In fact, Benedict Cumberbatch will be in a much better movie that we'll get to in a little bit here that won the Oscar for Best Picture, but certainly it isn't this garbage here, because, yeah, this movie is pretty bad. Like I said, Cumberbatch isn't bad in it. It's just not a good movie overall here. It's just a really lazy film. It's not entertaining. It's not as fun as The Social Network was. It doesn't have that quick-witted writing style of Aaron Sorkin, nor does it have the unique filmmaking style of David Fincher. And it's just not in here with this movie. Even though Bill Condon can be a good director every once in a while, this ain't it, man. This is a film that is pretty bad overall and just quickly came and went. And really, it's not hard to see why, because it is not a very good film. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and I have not seen this next one here, but I've seen the trailer for it, and yeah, it looks even worse than you could possibly imagine. It's a film called I'm in Love with a Church Girl.
God doesn't care about what you've done in your past. He just wants you to come as you are.
Adrian Beinbaum, Jeff Ja Rule Atkins, and Stephen Baldwin.
That's everything you need to know. If Stephen Baldwin is one of your big stars in the movie, you know you're in a film that's not really meant to be seen by a wide audience in general here. But Miles Montenegro, played by Jeff Ja Rule Atkins, I mean, I guess he really thought this was going to be his Academy Award-winning performance in this, but no, it's not that. It's Miles Montego, I'm sorry, not Montenegro, although Montenegro probably would have been a much more interesting name, but Miles Montego has it all. Cars, boats, good looks, mansions, money, women, but more importantly, he has a past. Miles is a retired, high-level drug trafficker who is now completely legitimate. Even though Miles has turned over a new leaf, the DEA can't seem to let him out of his sights. Miles' only downfall is that he's extremely loyal to a circle of friends and former colleagues who are not retired from the lucrative business. Struggling to keep on the right side of the law, Miles meets the one girl of his dreams, but she's not the usual type of girl that he's used to dating. It's Vanessa, played by Adrienne Bailon from the Cheetah Girls. And I guess she was also banging Rob Kardashian at that point, because I think she was like keeping up with the Kardashians at some point. But she's a church girl in every sense of the word. They're tested to the last ounce of faith and strength in God and each other. God continues to chip away at Miles through struggles from his past, having to live up to his reputation, feeling his unworthiness, the death of his mother, federal charges, his friends being indicted, the strain on his relationship with Vanessa, almost losing her in a near-fatal car accident, and finally the spiritual breakdown and one-on-one with God that brings Miles to his knees. But don't worry, folks, it's not too serious because it's rated PG, so you're not going to see anything in the PG-13 R-rated category for a film like this. No. Not with a cast that also includes Vincent Pastore, T-Bone, and Michael Madsen, as well as Martin Kove, from the Karate Kid movies. And just like, wow. I've never seen this movie, nor do I ever plan on seeing it, but I kind of feel like I have to because this is a movie that just seems so awful on so many levels. A movie that looks like it makes no goddamn sense whatsoever. Like a film that someone just had an idea to say, let's get whatever stars we can get right now. I mean, if your biggest star in the movie is Ja Rule in 2013, then just abandon your project right there, because there's abandon all hope ye who enter here. And of course the Christian media is going to love it because they don't believe the mainstream media gives them the attention they deserve. Well, we do, except when you make better movies than this, because this is not a movie that I feel like this movie wants to be like The Fireproof and the Courageous for them, but there's a difference. Fireproof and Courageous actually had something to them, and not this pile of garbage here. From this trailer that I'm looking at here, I mean, it's probably not a good movie overall. To continue the point there, guess how long ago this was shot? It completed production in November of 2010. It came out on October 18th, 2013. I think we pretty much know how this movie's going to turn out here. So, I don't know anything about this movie overall. I just think it looks like it's a terrible movie, and So, let's go ahead and move away from this and get to easily the most recognizable movie of the weekend, one of the best movies of the year, one of the best picture winners, the best picture winner of the year. I don't know why I was going with that, but let's get away from this movie here, and let's talk about 12 Years a Slave.
Film audiences and critics everywhere are boldly embracing. I love you, Mom. 12 Years a Slave is the winner of the Golden Globe Award, Producers Guild Award, and Critics' Choice Award for Best Picture of the Year. There is no justice in this slavery. Nominated for 9 Academy Awards, including Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Director, and Best Picture of the Year. Don't miss the triumph of 12 Years a Slave. Rated R. Now playing everywhere.
Yes, go ahead and show Brad Pitt's only scenes in the movie. I'm not even kidding. Like, that is only that's just some of the parts that he's in the final 20 minutes of this movie. Like, he's not in this movie as much as this trailer makes it out to me. But anyway, this is the Best Picture winner of the year, 12 Years a Slave. Based on the incredible true story of one man's fight for survival and freedom in the pre-Civil War United States, Solomon Northup, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, is a free black man from upstate New York and is abducted and sold into slavery. Facing cruelty personified by a malevolent slave owner portrayed by Michael Fassbender, as well as unexpected kindness, Solomon struggles not only to stay alive, but to retain his dignity. In the 12th year of his unforgettable odyssey, Solomon's chance meeting with a Canadian abolitionist, played by Brad Pitt, will forever alter his life. And, yeah, this is one of those movies that I keep talking about this film, kind of on the same vein as Schindler's List in general here. But, yeah, it's a movie that really it's great. It's one of the best movies of the year, but I freely admit, this is a film I very rarely watch over and over again. Even though this is a fantastic film, this really is one of the best movies of the year, and marks another winner for director Steve McQueen, following Shane that came out a couple years prior. And it gives Chiwetel Ejiofor the chance to prove to everybody that he can lead a movie, and his struggles to survive in the movie are amazing to watch. This is his movie, and he takes the opportunity to shine in it overall in this. I mean, everybody else is doing a good job in this. Michael Fassbender, definitely deserving of that Oscar nomination he got for Best Supporting Actor. Brad Pitt, even though it's a very small scene, it's a good scene. Benedict Cumberbatch is really good in here too, and a much better movie than The Fifth Estate. But of course, Lupita Nyong'o, everyone talks about her in this because, yeah, she won the Best Supporting Actress Oscar in this, and it's not hard to see why, because she's fucking amazing in this. I mean, this is a great actress all the way through. Like, we've seen it all through the years since then. But yeah, she definitely deserved to win the Oscar for this one, because she does give the best performance in this behind Ejiofor. The script by John Ridley is nicely done and sticks very close to the original source material, which is very rare for a film adaptation based on that book. Hans Zimmer's score is very well done, with a little bit of an homage to Inception in there too. The cinematography is very good as well. And like I said, this is a very hard movie to watch, and I mean hard to watch. The whole movie shows that what has happened to this guy was wrong, what has happened to these people is wrong, and the way that we treated them back then is wrong. And the hardest part of this of watching this is just seeing everybody getting whipped. And in most movies, you hear the whipping noise, but you usually see the effects except for like rope burns. But here, they get graphic, man. Like, not only do you see the rope burns, but you see Ejiofor and Nyong'o getting whipped so hard that you see blood and chunks of their skin being splattered. And when that happens, that's when the movie just becomes so gut-wrenching to watch, man. And the worst part of it all is that we as a society let this happen. It's hard to believe that we lived in a time when this was once considered okay. That's what makes those scenes all the more gut-wrenching to watch, knowing that this was a real thing. It is really fucked up in a way. And that's why I consider it to be kind of like the Schindler's List for this generation. It's a great movie, but man, it's hard to watch on multiple occasions because of the elements brought in that actually happened and what were considered common at the time. I mean, Schindler's List was pretty much the same thing. You know, you had all these people being taken away from their homes by these terrorists and these people who were killing them. It was just a really hard thing to watch in general. In that case, in general here, and yeah, it's very much the same thing with this movie. But it does give, like I said, it does give the film a good job of giving Chiwetel Ejiofor a chance to shine as a leading man. The performances overall are great. The characters are well done. The cinematography is great. The story is well done. The music is well done. But it is a movie that it's very hard to watch on multiple occasions just because of the source material overall. But it should not be understated how good this movie is. This is very high up there with one of the best movies of the year. This is easily up there in general with that. This is a film that does need to be seen to see how we let this happen in the world, and how this guy got a happy ending out of it, at least, or a way out of it, at least. But it can be hard to watch, yes, but you come out realizing that the filmmakers really did care for the source material for this and the motivation of what they were trying to do here, and wanted to bring it to life the best way they can. And that's exactly what they did here. It's a movie that takes a lot of chances, and it pays off big time in a big, big way for this. I can't recommend this one enough. 12 Years a Slave, outstanding movie. Plain and simple, but yeah, it's one of those ones where it's going to be really, really hard to watch on multiple occasions. But You see why it won the Best Picture, and I personally would have liked to see Gravity win it, but this movie's about as good as Gravity, so I'd be willing to take that as a consolation prize. So anyway, yeah, that's 12 Years a Slave. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is Robert Redford starring in All Is Lost. The movie that makes you realize, oh yeah, the dude who directed Kraven the Hunter can actually make a good movie. Because yeah, this is directed by J.C. Chandler, and yeah, needless to say, he made a great he made not only a good movie, but a pretty damn underrated gem from somebody we had just lost recently with Robert Redford. So deep into a solo voyage into the Indian Ocean, an unnamed man, played by Redford, wakes to find his 39-foot yacht taking on water after a collision with a shipping container left floating on the high seas. With his navigation equipment and radio disabled, the man sails unknowingly into the path of a violent storm. Despite his success in patching the breached hull, his mariner's intuition, and a strength that belies his age, the man barely survives the tempest, using only a sextant and a nautical map to chart his progress. He is forced to rely on ocean currents to carry him into a shipping lane in hopes of hailing a passing vessel, but when the sun relenting, sharks circling, and his meager supplies dwindling, the ever-resourceful sailor soon finds himself staring his mortality in the face. So yeah, this is a movie that combines a little bit of Life of Pi from the year before, and a little bit of also Open Water, too. And it's basically a new take on the story of the Old Man and the Sea, which is pretty much the same story in general here, but it really is one of Robert Redford's most underrated movies, if not his most underrated film in general, because yeah, it's a movie where it's just him all throughout the course of the movie, and you're so invested on how he's going to get out of this situation. Like, what's his motive? What's his plan here? He's trapped out in the middle of the ocean. He has no way to contact anybody, and it's really harrowing and engaging what they're able to do with this film in general here. They did a phenomenal job with this film. It's a terrific movie and a real good showcase for Robert Redford, who barely has any lines in this movie. Like, this is a film where he really does not have a whole lot of lines. At any time he tries to get, he'll have a couple lines here and there, but it's mostly relatively quiet with him overall. And, you know, you're just watching his acting in this, and you just see that, you know, like, let's put it this way. There's only 51 spoken English words in this movie by Redford. That's how much of a silent film this movie is, and it's an intriguing concept overall, and we don't see a lot of movies usually do that, honestly. We don't have a movie like this where there is very limited dialogue. I mean, Wall-E was a good example of that. Bambi, my favorite movie of all time, does that. Like, more movies like this definitely need to be something that has to be the norm in here. Yeah, some people would look at this and say, like, oh, it's just another Life of Pi movie. Well, yes, and also no. Like, yeah, this doesn't have the visual flair of Life of Pi overall, or the sense of overall happy enjoyment throughout the course of it, but it's still a really good movie, and one that sadly has not gotten as much attention as I think it should have. It's a movie that really should have been more talked about when Redford passed away earlier this year. It's a really damn good movie, and one that is very underrated, one that definitely needs to be seen out there. And yeah, with Redford now gone, this is now your opportunity to see one of his more underrated gems of a film, because this really is that type of a film. So yeah, I recommend All Is Lost. It's definitely worth it. So with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last movie that we have here, which is Daniel Radcliffe and Dane DeHaan in Kill Your Darlings.
Another lover hits the universe. The circle is broken.
Yeah, it's a little pretentious for its own good. This is a story about the college days of some of the earliest members of the Beat Generation. Lucien Carr, Allen Ginsberg, William S. Burroughs, Jack Kerouac, their interactions and Carr's killing of his longtime friend David Kamerer in Riverside Park in Manhattan, New York City. The cast also includes Ben Foster, Michael C. Hall, Jack Houston, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Elizabeth Olsen, who else? David Raish, Kira Sedgwick. So there is a good cast involved in this movie, but yeah, there are definitely times in this movie where it does feel like a movie that has its head so far up its own butt and wants to be seen as kind of pretentious overall. I mean, not to the level of something like David Cronenberg's Cosmopolis from the year before, but close. I mean, not enough to say that it's a great movie overall, but it does give you a chance to see some good acting performances from both Daniel Radcliffe and Dane DeHaan outside of what they were doing around the time. It's definitely, I think this was actually, if this wasn't one of Radcliffe's first big performances outside of Harry Potter on the big screen, it's one of his earliest ones, as far as I know. But this is Dane DeHaan coming just before he stars in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and coming off of Chronicle. So yeah, there's definitely some things about the movie that work overall. But other than that, though, it's one of those movies that's not a real rush out to see it type of film. It's only a type of film I would say see it to see these people that you know as these bigger characters that you know in a much smaller role. So that's the only real reason I would suggest this film. But other than that, though, there's no reason to watch this movie overall. It is kind of bland and kind of pretentious at times. But I don't know. I mean, that's just my thoughts on it. So there you go. That's my thoughts on Kill Your Darling. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies, and we'll wrap October up with next time around with a new Jackass movie with Johnny Knoxville starring in it. And it's not really a Jackass film, it's more of a Jackass spin-off film in which he plays a very bad grandpa in Jackass Presents Bad Grandpa. And we also have Ridley Scott taking another beloved Cormac McCarthy novel, following the success of No Country for Old Men, with The Counselor. And then we have a movie that... a lot of interesting movies in the month of October, to say the least. And yeah, this one in particular certainly has an interesting response from the LGBT community. If you know which one I'm talking about here, blue is the warmest color. If you don't, we'll touch on that tomorrow. But with all that said, thank you so much for joining me on this one. If you like this and want to see more videos like this, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and the notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist. Don't forget to check out the previous episode as well. And with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.